Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla and today I'm going to be doing a review for Love After Lockup Season 2 Episode 5, Secrets and Cellmates. So the episode starts off with Megan, Michael, and Sarah. Michael and Sarah are heading home from prison. Sarah is very excited that he is home and she's all giddy and bucked up and excited about their future. She's thinking about what it means for him to be home and what it means for their life together and their daughter and everything. I mean, she's grinning from ear to ear. And Michael, he's over there just continuing to get this girl's hopes up and, to put these ideas in her head about what their future's going to be like. He's telling her he can't wait to put that D on her. And I'm like, you are dead wrong for that, right? He's basically caught up in two different worlds. He has Megan over here, his boo thing that he is in love with. He says that he pulled a Jerry Maguire and said that basically Megan completes him and that's who he really wants to be. That's his queen. That's who he sees a future with. But at the same time, he is afraid that Sarah, his baby's mother, is going to take away his daughter if he doesn't be with her. And I'm just like, I don't think that's how that works. I don't really understand what his end game is going to be because neither one of these women is going to put up with that. He's going to have to eventually be honest. We see Megan is talking about, she continues to deal with trying to feel that trust again towards Michael because of the whole incident with him letting her basically get prepared to come and meet him where he was being released from prison, and him just completely flaking on her and changing up the whole game. And so she's still trying to gain that trust back. They're heading over to his mom's house so he can see her and his little sister and just see the old neighborhood. And they get back and his mom is not surprised at all. This whole love triangle that he has going on, because basically this is not his first rodeo. She said that he was a ladies' man before he went into prison. So although she's not going to put him on blast for doing what he's doing, she's also not a fan of it either. She said she's very traditional and she doesn't understand what's going on here. But we shall see. In the next scene, we see Megan, and she's still, just not understanding why Michael hasn't called her all this time. He has been out of prison for some time, at least a couple of hours, and she feels like she definitely should have been the first call that he gave when he got out, just to let her know what his status was and yada yada, and what, what's going to be going on with him for the next couple of hours or the next couple of days. And she didn't get that call, and she's like, you know what? I've been waiting and waiting. I'm not going to wait anymore. So back at Michael's mom's house, Sarah decides that she's going to go ahead with Michael's little sister to go pick up the little sister's boyfriend. So while they go away and take that little ride, Michael decides he's going to FaceTime his boo while she's gone. And he's all excited to see her and calling her his baby, and she's excited, and he's like, turn around, let me see that booty, let me see you. And she's like, you ain't gonna see no booty, it ain't there. And I'm like, I feel you, sis. So they're all excited, and he's like, I won't be able to see you immediately because I gotta head up to New York or wherever to see my PO. And she's like, well, who's bringing you up there? And he's like, Sarah. And she's like, all disappointed. And I'm like, girl, get used to it. She's gonna be in the picture. She is the baby mother and she's also the wife, but you don't know that just yet. So basically she is feeling some type of way about that. And I'm like, you better get used to it, because she's going to be in the picture for some time, at least for the next 18 years until this child is grown. So you're going to have to figure out how to get comfortable with that. Back at Michael's mom's house, his neighborhood, childhood friends that he knew before he went into prison come over to visit and check on him and see how he's doing. And they're like, when are we going to get back in the studio? And Michael tells us that before he went into prison, he used to rap and he was really trying to get his career off the ground. So he gets excited, like bet, like I'm ready to do this. Let's get in the studio right now. And he goes back and tells Sarah, and Sarah is noticeably upset. She's like, you just got out of jail. You should be spending time right now with me and your mama and your daughter and your family. Like, what are you doing? So she gets really upset, and he uses this as an excuse to get into it with her. And I'm like, man, see, that's the thing. It's so much more than that. Like, I know that it's not right what he's doing, but I think that in the bigger picture, it's just that he doesn't really want to be with her. And it's like all of these misplaced actions, it's like there's like so much more to it. And so yeah, we'll see how things turn out with them, but she's really afraid to lose him. She's like, I feel like I picked him up and he's dropped me. Now, for whatever reason, Michael still isn't really giving us a reason why he feels so strongly for Megan, and why he feels like things just can't work with Sarah, his wife and baby mother. All he says is, it just can't work. It won't work. And I'm like, what does that mean? But for whatever reason, he's not really in love with her. It appears that he's really in love with Megan. I mean, that's no excuse for his actions, but at least we're getting a little bit more insight into why he has been keeping this whole charade up. But it's definitely gonna blow up in his face. So we see Sarah. She is, of course, very mad that he's taken off so soon. I mean, her thug life side came out real fast. She's like, you leave here and I just might not be back when you get here. So understandably, she is upset, and I don't know how this is all gonna pan out, but he's making his bed, so I don't feel bad for him. So the next scene is Kaitlyn and Matt. Kaitlyn and Matt have left their little log cabin live nest, and they're back on the road, and they're catching up, and they're talking about, their future and what are their next steps and what's going to happen with them. And they're talking about their living arrangements, and of course he's still feeling salty about Kaitlyn setting up an arrangement for them to live with his mom, which I'm just like, I don't really think that was necessary for her to lie about anyway. At the end of the day, anybody's parents would be mad about their child seeing somebody in jail. So she could have just went to him and been like, look, my mom isn't happy with us being together, and it looks like I'm not going to have anywhere to stay. How do you feel about us going to stay with your mom? Because really, a mature man would have been like, babe, I'm sorry that happened, but we got to do what we got to do in the meantime until I get back on my feet, till we get back on our feet. So don't even worry about that. But I don't think that Matt is capable of that. I'm just giving him way too much credit right now. So they head back to Matt's mother's house, and she's excited to see her son. And she's just like, of course, even though her kid is getting out of jail, you're still just as excited as if they've been like abroad for several years. She embraces him, and she's just like, usually I'm the one that goes and gets him, and now it's out of jail. It's crazy because it sounds like, it's been plenty of times that she's had to go get her kid out of jail or prison, and now Kaitlyn is doing it, and she wants to see how this is all gonna turn out. And she seems like a really sound and normal lady. Like, it really goes to show you, like, you can raise your kids right, and you can be a great parent, and sometimes they're just gonna do what they're gonna do. Because his mom just really seems to be a sweet, kind lady from what we can see. So we see them go and check out their house and his old room, and they're talking about the window that he used to sneak out of. And jokingly, Kaitlyn is like, I'm gonna be laying right here by the window to block him from getting out. And he is like, I want y'all to know that, like, if I want to get out that window, I will get out that window. Like, nobody's gonna stop me. Like, basically getting way too crunk for no reason. Like, ain't nobody gonna stop me. And I'm like, now in the confessional, Matt is giving us a little bit of his history. He's saying that since basically he was 16, 17 years old, he's been in and out of prison. He was even in a boys' home for bad kids or whatever. Back when he was a teenager, he has been in and out, on drugs, meth to be specific. And I'm just like, girl, Kaitlyn, you don't even know what you're getting into, sis. Because look, he has never shown that he can stay out in society and obey rules and laws. it's mainly been drugs that have been his problem with staying out of jail. She has no idea, or maybe she has some concept of what she's getting into, but I think she's definitely biting off a whole lot more than she can chew here, because he does not seem like he's the humble type that's really trying to change here. So Matt is like continuing to go back and forth with Kaitlyn about like he's not gonna be restricted and trapped and caged in. Like, he's a grown man, he's 28 years old. And she's just like, calm down. And he's like, look, you sound like my mother. You're telling me to calm down. Like, I just want to be free and I don't want to be trapped. And I'm up there thinking, like, clearly you do, since you've been in and out of jail for the past 10 years. I'm not convinced. So he's basically like, you know, I'm 28 years old. I don't have a car. I'm staying with my mother. And Kaitlyn's trying to say, like, you know, hey, it's day by day, step by step. We got to get there. We'll get to that point. And, you know, I don't think she's trying to be patronizing or treat him like a kid or whatever. She's trying to just get him to be rational and just think like it's going to take time. You know, you've been locked up for X amount of years. Everything isn't going to happen overnight. But I don't think that Matt really has that rational side to him. I mean, he doesn't really seem to want to be confined anywhere and obey rules and laws. So we shall see what happens with that. So we got Lizzie and Scott back this week. Lizzie and Scott continue to stay in two separate motel or hotel rooms. And because Lizzie is like, look, I am a born again virgin and Scott is not going to corrupt me. No. So basically that day she decides that she needs some alone time to do something with Scott. So she dismisses her daughter and Scott's son, Adam. And she's like, I just want to do something for him today. So she decides to give Scott a makeover. And she's just like, you know, do you trust me? You know, I got a little bit experience. And he's just like, I love this woman so much that I'll do anything for her. I'll spend all my money. I'll go in debt for this woman. I love this woman. I'll do anything. So basically, Lizzie wants to upgrade Scott. She's like, look, I know you have more self-esteem and more self-love for this than what you've been showing these past couple of days. So I want to do this for you. So, you know, Lizzie tells us that she went to beauty school for a little while, honey, before she got kicked out for doing heroin. I'm like, oh my God. So you went to school like 10 years ago, 10 or more years ago for cosmetology, and you're about to get to cutting on this man. But okay, we just gonna go with it. So she proceeds to cut Scott's hair, and she doesn't really have a lot of experience. You can tell, girl, sis gave him a whole like backwoods widow's peak. It is like, it's just a little tail in the back, little rat tail, whatever you call it in the back. It is tragic. I'm glad it's in the back and he can't see it because it's a hot mess. And then she starts to cut his beard or shave off his beard and mustache, and she F's that up too. At least she's honest about this F up. And he's just like, you know, babe, I'm going to take whatever you do because I just love you. And so she's just like, you know, this is what you got to look like anyway if I'm going to be kissing up on you. So she proceeds to give him sloppy, gross, porn star like kiss. And I'm like, oh, I can't take it. I can't take it. I'm about to stop calling this show Lover After Lockup, and I'm going to start calling it like, I don't know, Booty Talk 12. Because it is mostly porn on this show. I'm going to tell you the truth. And there's more to come in this episode when it comes to stuff that we do not need to hear and see. So Lizzie and Scott decide that they want to have an official date night, just them two, so they can get to know each other a little bit more and dress up and get cute for each other. So while Scott is getting ready, he's talking to his son Adam, you know, like, what do you think about her? And Adam is being real. He's just like, I'm really, of course, concerned that she's using you for your money and she's not with you for the right reasons. And Scott is like, I guess, playing crazy, not really telling him like, you're kind of on to something. And he was like, if his son knew that he has blown basically $90,000 on this woman, he would not be okay with that. So they just like, okay. So Adam is just like, I guess I have no choice but to accept this. So Lizzie asks her daughter, you know, what do you think about Scott? Do you think he's the one? And her daughter is keeping it all the way real. She's just like, I really don't think he's the one for X, Y, and Z reason. And I'm like, what is it? It seems like the kids on this show have way more sense than the adults. And, in the confessional, her daughter is like, he sent money for her to get drugs in jail. Like, of course I wouldn't want my mom to be with somebody like that. He is an enabler. Like, I don't see how this is gonna work out if he continues to enable her, and to a fault. Like, he is catering to her to the point where, it could put Lizzie in a position where she's not really taking care of herself because she has someone that's always going to provide. And I mean, have these people that have been out of jail for like drug offenses, have they even been rehabbed? I'm just like, where does that play into things? Do we know if they really cleaned, fully clean? Like, how rehabbed are they? So Lizzie's daughter definitely has valid concerns. So they go out on their date, and we will see what else happens with that date. So up next, we have Marcelino and Brittany. They are having a brunch, what appears to be a very beautiful restaurant, and they're just reflecting on the past 48 hours, her being out of jail. And she's saying that he basically came and said, I'm sorry for how I handled things. And she's just basically taking it with a grain of salt, like, because she saw a whole different side to him that she never saw when she was still in prison. And she hopes for the best, but she definitely is keeping a second eye open when it comes to him, and how he, is very aggressive, and he knows what he wants, and he wants it right now, and how he wants it. She is just hoping for the best, but I'm not so sure how it's going to go, because at breakfast, he's continuing to be, I don't know, I guess you could say like a jerk, because they were at breakfast waiting for her previous bunkie mate. And I'm like, what kind of bunkie mate was y'all? So they're waiting, and her previous bunkmate is really late, and Marcelino is complaining about it. But I want to blame it on, his military side, but I think it has a lot to do with he really doesn't want her to be involved with anybody from her past life, be it, people that are still in jail or people that are now out of jail. He just wants her to completely leave that life behind. So finally, Sasha shows up, and, she's very sweet, and, she apologizes for being late, but she's like, yeah, I live right up the street. So that really doesn't make Marcelino happy. So they are talking about, how they met and everything. And he is basically interrogating her, like, rude. He is like, I don't know how I feel about her still being connected with people that was a part of her former life. I don't know how good that is for her. And, Sasha is like, there was a time where Brittany was really there for me. Like, we're family now. Like, there was a time when I was having a medical emergency, and she went and got help for me, and I'll never forget that. And she is family now. So you just, in so many words, you're gonna have to get over that, because we're close. And he's like, whatever, family comes first at the end of the day, and then friends. And Brittany is like, slow your roll, because I'm gonna tell you right now, that blood is thicker than water thing isn't always true. When I was growing up, me and my siblings were, starving a lot of time. We would have to leave and go to shelters and get food. Our parents let us struggle because they had substance abuse problems. They was doing drugs in our house and all of that. And as an adult, when I needed help with different things, I couldn't count on family. It has been friends and people that I have met in this other part of my life that have really shown up for me. So that's really a bunch of BS. And he's like, I guess I'll go to the bathroom now. So while he's out at the bathroom, Sasha asks Brittany, like, hey, have you told him about your ex-lover in jail, Amanda? Like, have you told them like that you used to have a girlfriend and all of this stuff? And Brittany's like, not really. I haven't told him about it. Amanda is somebody that she was really close with, and in many ways than one. And so that she is out, and she hopes to still have Amanda in her life in some capacity, and that she hopes that Marcelino can deal with that. And I'm like, good luck with that. So Sasha's like, I don't know how that's gonna work. Look how he is towards me, and I'm not even somebody that you were romantically involved with. So Britt's like, I don't really know how he's gonna handle that, but we'll see. Now in Marcelino's confessional, he's like, I'm gonna be real, like, I'm not just gonna have people in her life that are enablers and people from her past that weren't any good for her or who I perceive to not be good for her. Like, she's gonna be taking steps back. And it's like, damn, I want to give him credit because a lot of things that he says, whether it's this episode or like previous episodes, he has a lot of valid reasons for feeling the way he does and a lot of valid concerns, but his delivery is always so wrong that it just makes you just feel like, you know what, you're a control freak and you always want things your way when you want, and that's just not gonna work for a modern day woman. Like, I really can't wait to see how this pans out because they really seem to be on two totally different wavelengths. As always, can't wait to watch this train wreck unfold. So that's it for Marcelino and Brittany. So last we have Clint and Tracy. Clint, they're going to dinner and he's looking pretty nice when we got Tracy over here still wearing her $2 hooker dress. Lord, God bless her. But you know what? That's his goddess. So I'm going to just let them live and live their best life and just enjoy their time. But I'm just like, damn, we couldn't have got her a little cover up, a little prayer cloth to cover up that bra strap and all of that going on in the back to make her look a little bit more decent. This is their engagement dinner. So they basically sit and enjoy their dinner and they're talking about their future and where they see things going with kids and yada, yada, yada. And, how is Tracy going to do on the outside? But Clint is like so nervous because he knows he's going to propose and then what other things are going to happen. So he can't even focus on his food. He's so nervous that he has to go in the back and just gather himself. And so he comes back out and to propose, and I'm just looking at this girl like, I'm sorry, like, is Tracy still wearing the damn coffee grinds from prison? Because it just was very distracting. The eye makeup, I'm like, the hair is fabulous, but then the eyes, but then I just realized I think they just really didn't do anything else with her face, or maybe it just was too much for like a daytime dinner. But okay, focus. So he proposes to her finally, and she is so smitten and so excited. And they do it in front of the restaurant, and they are just ecstatic. And we will see where this goes. But Clint is hiding the pants, and he's ready to get back and show Tracy this beautiful hotel room that he's gotten. So Clint and Tracy are headed to the hotel. It's a beautiful hotel, and clearly Tracy is enjoying it because she is just busting it all open on the counter like, yes, this is where you can have all this. And Clint just staring, looking at her like a damn, with that whole serial killer gaze that he likes to give. And he is all giddy and excited. So they head to the room and they are all over each other. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So again, Love After Lockup gives us way more, things to see in here that we do not need to see in here. They are all over each other. Gross. So they leave the room, but they still let us enjoy all the voted and groaning that is them getting it in. And I'm like, thank you. No, really, what did I do to deserve this? So that is the end of Love After Lockup. Thank you again so much for joining me today to do this review. I love this show. It looks like next episode is going to be even more cray. So I am out of here, and thanks again, and y'all have a great day. Bye.